The Monday, March 24th, 2025 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there's a quorum of the council present. Agenda item number 2, invocation. Mr. Gene Anderson will deliver the invocation, followed by the United States Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge of Allegiance, presented by the City Council. Please rise.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we're so thankful and grateful for all that you do for us. We thank you, Father, for intervening in our life each and every day. We pray for your guidance and direction and godly wisdom, that we might do things with understanding in a way that will please you. We pray for our country, our state, our city, that you would guide and direct us in everything. Bless this council tonight as they conduct the city's business. Might you be glorified in all things. We do pray and ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Agenda item number 4, Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council, the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda. The public forum is now open. If there's anyone who wishes to address the council, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will go ahead and close the public forum. Consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by single action of the council, with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Does any member wish to remove an item from the agenda for discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Agenda item number 16, receive updates on the wastewater treatment plant Phase 1 and Phase 2 improvement project. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, we do. Interim Utilities Director Danny Rowell will introduce our speaker from Garver this evening.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem of City Council. I know you was looking forward to this, asking about the wastewater project. Justin Rackley from Garver is going to present us an update today. Last time we did was last August, I believe, and so I think after we see the presentation, everybody's going to be well pleased with the progress that we've made so far. So if further ado, Justin.
Appreciate the introduction. Like Danny said, my name is Justin Rackley, and I'm your engineer of record for wastewater treatment plant improvements. Those improvements are comprised of 2 projects. The first one is referred to as a Phase 1. The second is the Phase 2. And so appreciate the opportunity to come. Like Danny said, the last time we were here was in August. I'm very proud of the updates to share with you today. We have made a lot of progress on these projects, so I hope that you appreciate the work that both of the very qualified contractors have performed out at the plant. So just a quick update on the timeline of construction. The top bar is our Phase 1 progress, and the bottom bar is Phase 2. We'll focus first on Phase 1. So notice to proceed on that project was on January 11th, 2023. Here we are today, March 24th of 25. Based on our actual contract dates on the project, we do expect this project to complete on July 22nd for substantial completion and August 14th. We are expecting schedule updates from Thale, the contractor of this project, after we reconcile the weather delays and the impacts of those delays to the construction progress, and also any other delays that have been incurred to date. So we will update in the next presentation what the current status of that project is. Phase 2 is a much younger project. We do expect substantial completion on January 14th of 2026, and then final completion on April 14th of the same year, 2026. So just as a reminder, this is what your wastewater treatment plant construction site looked like prior to breaking ground with Thale. We did go through a lengthy effort to identify a sequencing plan that would not impact your plant's performance, which is a full-service 24/7 operation. So I wanted to make sure that the new infrastructure that we designed and is being constructed would not impact your ability to process raw wastewater. This is a rendering of the proposed site overview of the project at completion. We'll go through 5 of these process areas and we'll give an update. First area is the aeration basins and the blower building, and again, a conceptual rendering showing what it will look like at the end of construction. This is a photo that we presented the last time in August that I was standing up here and giving an update. And I included this because I want to show y'all just the sheer progress that we've made since August. So this is what it looks like. This is the influence side of the aeration basins. So they've completed the splitter box, are looking to get out of the ground and start backfilling around that structure. They've completed the center walkway of the aeration basins, and they're expecting to actually install the diffuser and the air piping in the basin. This is a critical path item for this project because as soon as they get this process area up and running, they can demo their existing orbital units, which will allow our Phase 2 contractor to come into the boundary of the wastewater site and actually execute some of their work. So this is the effluent side of the aeration basin side. You can also see in the foreground, or in the background, excuse me, the new blower building and the associated electrical building. So they're beginning to put the skin on that building. The electrical building is built out structurally, and they're actually installing the electrical equipment in that building as we speak. Moving on to Site 2, these are the primary clarifiers. This is where most of the progress was made since we last met in August. Back in August, they had installed the base slab. They're starting to build the formwork and erecting the steel for the walls. And this is the actual progress as of 2 weeks ago. So they've constructed the walls. They're beginning to construct the launders, the launder weirs, and the piping to and from the primary clarifiers. What you see in the foreground is the primary clarifier splitter box, and that has a series of launders and weirs to help distribute the flow to the primary clarifiers. We're currently showing that that's approximately 60% complete. Moving on to Site 3, this is your mixed liquor suspended solid splitter box, and then your return activated sludge and your waste activated sludge pump station. So what's shown on the right is your RAS-WAS pump station, and on the left is the splitter box that sends flow from the aeration basins into the final clarifiers. This is a progress that we showed last time we were here in August. Again, they were barely getting out of the ground, constructing the base slab and the walls, and this is what it looks like as of 2 weeks ago. So they've made significant progress there, and we're currently estimating that that's being 63% complete. Final clarifiers, this is the progress that we showed the last time. As a reminder, there are 3 existing final clarifiers. They will be rehabbing the existing, but they can't take one of them down for capacity reasons until they construct the 4th primary clarifier. So the actual progress to date, they have installed the influent launders, the launder weirs, they've installed the Stanford baffles, and they're just waiting on installing the center column in the actual rotary distributor mechanism. This is about 55% complete. The recycle flow pump station is our Site 5. Again, we showed this. The actual site location is at the background of this picture. You can see the black tarp covering what will be your septic receiving station. This is a current progress to date. They've constructed the wet well. They've constructed the structural pad where the septic receiving station will be located. So they've made significant progress on that. And again, they're about 68% complete on that process area. Moving on to the dewatering building, it was shown in that previous picture, but this is the progress that they've made to date. Again, they've erected the framing for the skin of the building. They've installed the belt filter press. I actually had the privilege of seeing that belt filter press on the showroom floor at a conference in New Orleans. So as soon as it left the conference, it was delivered to the site and installed in the facility. This is a video flyover that we have. I'll try to narrate as we go through, but again, at the end, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So this is looking to the west. These are the two primary clarifiers in your influence splitter box to the primary clarifiers. And again, kudos to Thale for producing this aerial flyover. What's shown off to the right of that structure is a base slab for what will be the primary sludge pump station. As we pan to the north, we'll see the influence side of the aeration basins splitter box and the associated two aeration basins. Again, they're beginning to backfill on the perimeter of this facility, bringing the grade up to final elevation. What's shown in the background here is, again, the blower building and the associated electrical building for the blowers. As we pan to the east, you can see the MLSS splitter box and the RASWAS pump station. In the background currently is your existing final clarifiers. And as we go through, you can see the new final clarifier that's being constructed there. This is your ATAD and solids processing facility. As we pan to the south, you can see your drying beds, you can see your chlorine contact basins. You can see the sludge to watering facility off to the right of this video. In this general direction, just off to the right, that big excavation is for the septic receiving station, the wet well. So again, they've made good progress in these areas. You can see it's a very active site. We are day-to-day struggling with just saturated soil conditions with the rain that we've had over the winter. This is our solids dewatering building with our belt filter press. This is for final dewatering of the sludge before it's hauled off site. It's a general stockpile location, and this is just a general overview. Those large circular structures you see there are the orbital units that we will demolish and provide that additional real estate to the city for future expansion. But again, we thank Thale for producing this video. Helps us get a good understanding of what their progress is. We'll move on to phase 2, and I'll try to make this quick to respect everyone's time. Moving on to phase 2, this is outside the wastewater treatment plant just to the south on Stillhouse Road. This is what we call the flow equalization basin site. Currently, it's got an influent pump station, and it's got fine screening. Basically, off to the east side of Stillhouse Road, they have some flow equalization basins that they can actually store flow if they get a flow that is past what their permitted discharge permit requires. This is an overall site plan. What's highlighted in yellow are the existing facilities, and what's highlighted in maroon or fuchsia is the proposed facilities. So you can see the overall acreage of the site is increasing to account for additional headworks processing. The goal of this project is to improve your headwork screening and grit removal, because as much of that you can get out of the raw wastewater flow before it goes into the wastewater plant, the better performance you will have at the wastewater plant. Just showing current construction progress photos. Again, this is at the flow equalization basin site. We're showing the electrical building on the left side of this. This image is the electrical building. You can see the conduits coming up, and then this will also house an emergency standby generator to eliminate or to mitigate any of the concerns with redundant power out to the site. We're currently showing this as approximately 17% complete. This is a rendering of the flow equalization basin headwork structure to the right side of this drawing. The circular structure is a grit classifier. So again, we're looking to remove as much grit and fine sand particles, and all of that is downstream of the influent fine screens. This is their current excavation. In this picture does not do it justice, but this is a substantial excavation that was impacted severely for all the rain that we had. So kudos to Drake, who is our constructor that's out there, for keeping this area dewatered and safe and a stable foundation so we can construct on. This process area is approximately 5% complete. The major effort that they've expended in the last time since we met in August was actually installing the force main along its prescribed alignment. They started at the wastewater treatment plant site, which is on the top left side of this this rendering, and they moved to the south, made a significant creek crossing, and again, they were impacted by weather throughout this alignment. But this is over 3 miles of a 30-inch force main, and Danny and I were just talking before this meeting. We did get reports back from the subcontractor, Wicker, who's supporting Drake, that they have successfully landed at the FEB site. So they've completed this. This is a general overview of the force main. As we prepared this presentation, they were 85%, but as I previously mentioned, they have landed at their destination at the flow equalization basin site. Wicker and Drake have both done a great job working with Garver and working with the city to make this as less of a painful process as it could be with a lot of the rain events that we had in the fall and in the winter. With that, I'll open it up to any questions, and if I can't answer it, then I've got Danny here in support to answer any questions you'll have. But again, thank y'all for allowing us to come and present the progress of the project.
Any questions, council?
Great info, thank you.
Out of curiosity, how large is that aeration basin?
It's roughly 230 feet.
Okay. Has a massive structure, so I was just curious to see how big that structure was. Wow.
It is a massive structure, and it's designed for the process. So based on what the influent loadings and concentrations are, TCQ specifies the overall aeration volume that's required.
Fantastic. The only question I have is, are we able to get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation?
This is actually stored on this laptop here. So
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
If we're able to get that sent to us.
Okay, we'll share.
Just so that way we get a chance. I mean, it's not every day we get a chance to, help and revive our wastewater treatment plant.
Absolutely.
So it'd be good to see these pictures, but fantastic. Thank you.
And if you don't have a copy of the presentation from the August meeting, then I can send that to Danny as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 17, discuss and possibly act on special projects to fund out of the $400,000 received from the solar farm disannexation project and provide direction to staff. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, if you recall back with, it was in June of 2024, Nexus came to us with a solar farm project disannexation request. Council approved that, granted it, and out of the $400,000 that the city is due to receive, we've received $275,000 so far, with $125,000 due by the end of this year, December 2025. So council has expressed a desire to pick a special project to use these funds for. So what we're going to do tonight is go through a selection of what these projects could be for your consideration. We will not make a decision tonight, and of course, unless council would like to, but we have quite a few projects to go through. So first of all, the possible uses, and this is in your packet as well, listed from most expensive to least. You see that, and then we'll go through each one of those projects. The most expensive would be the sports complex parking lot improvement, used primarily, you see in this map, this is sports complex, parking lot used primarily for soccer. I believe we have close to 700 youth that are enrolled in the soccer program here in Paris, and that is just a little over $400,000. Add Pine Mill Street to the Mill and Overlay project. When we initially discussed the Mill and Overlay project, we did not have enough to include another street. And talking to Todd Engineering, we could add this section of Pine Mill between 30th and 35th to the overlay project. However, we may, if the cost of mill and overlay or asphalt cost go up, which could happen, that $400,000 just may be an added cushion. Or it may just allow us to actually cover all the streets that we're talking about. But right now, with the estimate cost we have, we could add Pine Mill. One suggestion was to just put it back in the general fund, so of course we wanted to include that. A brush truck for a fire department. Our current fire department currently has 3 brush trucks, one from 2021, one from 2012, one from 1997. I think we have some staff that are a little younger than that brush truck. But we could include that brush truck. You see the cost there is $300,000. Some of these we will bring back to you because there may be another option, another route to fund this, but I wanted to include this in the project as well. First Street project, there's the rendering there. Currently, we're approximately $300,000 over budget on that, and this is a grant project. I believe it's a 90-10 match. But the two highlighted areas, north and south, are bump outs, and there are 8 bump outs altogether, and we could, to get within budget, cut all 8 of those out, or cut 4 out, or cut 2 out, or we could fund this project with some of these funds and complete the project so it's completed in its entirety. This is for the shared fuel farm with Lamar County. The estimated cost of the shared fuel farm with the other organization is $800,000. They're asking for a 50-50 cost share. We could use that full $400,000 to fund that. Basically, we're using, I don't want to say free money, but basically we're using money much like we did with ARPA to complete the project, and then also could help to the city save up to $50,000 a year, or we could enter into a contract and give them an annual payment. Another project is Lake Crook Boat Ramp. If you recall, about 3 years ago, we replaced the westernmost boat ramp at Lake Crook, and we did have a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, both of us using HOT, hotel occupancy tax. We could do the same thing with the easternmost boat ramp, and you see it here. This boat ramp is approximately 25 years old, and as I understand it, it was made on land and pushed in, and while it was pushed in, it cracked. And Parks and Public Works has to do considerable repair every year. And when we did the other boat ramp on the west side, the usage at Lake Crook really everybody got excited about coming out there again because their boats were safer. Very few people, correct me if I'm wrong, very few people use this boat ramp on the right-hand side because it's not what it could or should be. A restroom facility, if you've been at Lake Crook, you see our restroom facility is 2 portable outhouses. There's a possibility, I spoke with Paul Allen, I believe he's here this evening with the Chamber, to have some type of partnership again using hot tax, both entities. So you'll see different sizes of restroom facilities. This is the largest. Still going from largest to smallest, dollar-wise, sports complex parking lot. This is the one that services the pavilion area, pump track, and pickleball. This would also not just be the parking lot, but the road on I think it's the west and east side of the pavilion. So that whole area would be a brand new parking lot. Going back out to Lake Crook, smaller bathroom facility, and it's $149,590. This includes site prep, septic, and structure, same as on the larger one. And even this is the smallest one I think we could get that has male and female. It's $109, again, that's site prep, septic, and structure. And the last, at least on this list, is a vertical compactor dumpster, which we would use for the downtown area. We've had some discussions about looking at ordinances that prohibit polycarts in the downtown area. And if we were to go that route, this would be something that we could use. And I believe total, it would be $55,000 for the pad, power, dumpster itself, and the enclosure. With that said, if there is anything else that the council would like to consider or you have ideas about, if you would bring that to staff. But this is information that you can look at, compare, contrast, talk to staff, talk to your constituents. And again, if you have anything that's not on the list that you would like to see added, please get that to staff. We'd be happy to get cost estimates.
I know that you were saying that we don't have to make the decision today, but is there a finality to this? Like, do we have to have a decision by a particular time period?
No, sir.
Nothing like that, okay. So I'm going to throw this back into council's court and see, is there anything that we feel we're more compelled towards funding, or do we want to wait on it, think about it a little bit more?
Well, I've looked at it, and I like the idea of using it for the fuel farm for the reasons listed. It said it would allow the city to realize, coming out of the fuel farm meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago, it'll allow the city to realize the savings from the fuel farm immediately, and then
it would help, maybe over the next couple of years, subsidize some of these lower cost, like the facilities out at Lake Crook. I really like those, the bathroom facilities. Would help us, maybe move towards something like that in the next couple of years. But realizing that saving immediately using free money, or not necessarily free money, but it's just like free money. But I think that's a huge asset to the city, instead of waiting, 4 or 5 years before we actually realize the savings? Or maybe even take longer than that to realize any savings.
Okay, and I believe, just for the record, I think that was about $50,000 is what we're projecting to save annually
Up to, yes, sir.
on Fuel Farm.
Anywhere
up to
from 30 to 50,000.
30 to 50, and that adds up.
So you're looking at 8 years to even break even, and we could immediately go in, with the books balanced and start realizing some savings and use it to pay for some of these projects. That's just my opinion.
Anyone else?
Yeah, when we decided to use the funds, I wanted to be able to touch something that these funds were going towards, that the citizens could talk to us and say, this paid for this. So an infrastructure project was really what well, not that Fuel Farms are infrastructure, but brick and mortar, something as in the downtown area. The First Street projects, with the grant having to be spent within the year, this also is kind of time sensitive. My opinion about the First Street is that I don't want to cut any corners, because I want this to be the blueprint for other downtown historic projects, and the beautification of that street should be the template for other things that we do forward. So I just want to make sure that Main Street does feel supported in their design.
I like some of the parking lots. I think we should explore what other entities might split the cost with us, because that could greatly lower it. But I think the parking lot by the pump track and by the pickleball courts, if you park out there, it's in rough shape. I think that's something that has many events going on, and is a great project to have to make our community look better.
And I'm taking note of this, so I'm putting, little tally marks by each one. Mayor Pro Tem Savage, I think you had something.
Yeah, when Ms. Putnam said what she said, it made me think of what I left off. One of the reasons I was saying put it into the Fuel Farm, because all of the other items on here are specific to, most of them are specific to certain areas, except for the brush truck. They're specific to certain areas. But if we put the money toward the Fuel Farm, and then we realize this savings, then we could take that money and put it all over the city. It's not a specific area, because, see, this money should benefit everybody in the city, not just certain areas. And so if we can save money, which we've already budgeted for the Fuel Farm, so if we can save money and then put it toward the whole city, because we know from different meetings here in the last couple of years, we know that the whole city is complaining about streets. They're complaining about code enforcement. They're complaining about high weeds and grass, and a lot of times money and staff is a part of the issue, that money is limited and staff is limited. But if we can save money, then maybe we can help these people all over the city.
Anyone else?
So my thought initially is something for curb appeal, something that the citizens see that we are, doing something positive, whether it is, of course, I like the First Street, because that's been in the works a long time. And then a parking lot, and then there's always that need for that dumpster downtown. But something with some curb appeal that people can see, that we are using the money for something tangible.
Yes, I agree. I think with any of these big construction projects, you only get to build them once, like a curb or a sidewalk. So that's why I tend to lean towards I do like the parking lot idea too, because that would touch a lot of our youth. But again, knowing that the grant is active and all the plans are in the works, they're going to spend the money this year. I just don't want, a bump out to be cut or grass or tree because we didn't support it the way we needed to. And again, it's about curb appeal, increasing our tourism and people visiting Paris, and that will also bring revenue.
Mr. Ellis, any thoughts?
I like the fuel farm, and then the dumpster, maybe that first year, the money that possibly could be realized could take care of that, because it hadn't been just, a month or two ago that there was a lot of discussion concerning the trash cans downtown, and that's not been resolved, so we could do both of those.
I've got a question, Mr. Vine. I know in the presentation you were saying there are some opportunities that we might be able to look into potential avenues for revenue to fund some of these other projects. What could you allude to?
Yes, sir. So if just going down the list, Lake Crook boat ramp, we used HOT for that last time, so that may be an option that we could look at if that project was chosen. Brush truck for fire department, there's an opportunity. I think Gene and Rose were talking about going out for a loan for apparatus. If we added that to that list, we would take that off of this list. Again, I think in the slide, if we added it to that list, we might be able to have a greater realization of savings because we've purchased more than one truck, correct? More than one apparatus. First Street, it is in the tax increment reinvestment zone. So that is a possibility. It may not be a super easy or fast one, but that is an opportunity. HOT may also be an opportunity for that. Again, with the restrooms, facilities at Lake Crook, HOT would be an opportunity again. It might be with city attorney sitting right here, the parking lot. HOT might be an option, but it might be a little tighter of an option, if that makes sense.
So the reason why I asked
I'm
that-
getting a disapproving look on
Right.
HOT for parking
The reason
lot.
why I'm asking that question is one, for that particular reason, with Mr. Allen sitting in the audience too, really understanding what all our hot techs can go towards. I don't remember how far we are within the hot tech selection that we had years past, where we went up 2 cents. Do we know what year how many more years do we have left on that? We don't know.
I don't
Okay.
remember.
I know it's been a while, so I'm just curious. I mean, could there be a potential to really do some of these infrastructure projects like the parking lots that we're talking about here for both, whether it be sports complex or the pavilion parking there, being connected to the Civic Center? And it does bring tourism. We do have quite a bit that goes on over there. So technically, we could pitch this as a hot tax increase at some point when we come due. Is that correct?
A hot tax that we're extra hot tax, that 2 cent, is going to pay the debt of those bonds that we issued that did the renovation at the Civic Center. So that's what it was allowed for and intended for. And I think once that's over, that 2 cents goes away unless we can find a similar type project to bring it back.
That would require another election.
Okay. Well, I'll give my 2 cents, coincidentally, on that too. Thank you.
Thank you for the joke.
Sorry, we have to have fun here sometimes, right? Yeah. So, this is my thought process on this. I really feel like some of these projects, obviously, every one of them is important. And I would hope that when we talk about our overall strategic plan as a community, we discuss all of these within line. Where I'm coming up with this idea is maybe our parking lots and our restrooms and boat ramps kind of tie into HOT. We look at an opportunity to potentially, within that strategic plan, look into those options and see how we move forward with the proper timing of that. I really like that vertical dumpster. I know that that's the lowest hanging fruit there, which is great. The other thing that is very attractive to me, and I've said this for a really long time, is that fuel farm, simply because I know that the cost of fuel is so much right now, and we could potentially see a great savings on that. And also, we get a payoff quicker than what we would before moving on. But I will say, it is a tough decision to make, also with Miss Moore being out too. I would really like to impress upon her and see what her thoughts are on this too, because I want this to be a right decision that we make as a council collectively for our citizens. I mean, we've all made a great argument for each one of these, but I want to make sure that the citizens approve of this also and feel good about it to the best of our ability. So I know that, I think we're kind of in an agreement, but I want to hear, I mean, is it okay if we push this off maybe another meeting and let Ms. Moore have another opportunity to be able to discuss this also?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what you have to say, but just speaking of hot tags, and I don't want to call a certain business's name because it's not on the agenda, but, you know, we discussed, I think it was last week, some opportunities possibly for hot tags to come to the city, and it was a pretty good amount per year. That's another opportunity, that I think just policy changes would help us with that. So some of these things like the restroom facilities or sports complex, pickleball, pump track, you know, parking lot, things like that could possibly be funded through those taxes if we can.
So, since we're not making a decision tonight, one thing I would like to see is maybe a survey on the website so where the community can give us some feedback on what they like. If that's possible, I'd like to see that.
It's a grand idea. I think we should definitely push for that. And maybe we could publicize this the best that we can through social media and get folks really into this, because it's you know, this is going to be something that they're going to benefit off of.
Well, the only problem I have with that, and I'll go back to a couple of years ago when I told council that some people feel like their voices don't matter, and when we had the West Paris Town Hall meetings, that came up in every meeting. We didn't say anything, we didn't call because we feel like we're not appreciated, our voices don't matter. So every demographic is not going to get on that site and put their opinion out there. Now, the door is open, but some people don't feel invited. So I don't know if that would be fair. I don't know. I think it would be better if we went out as council members into our district and just talk to people and see. But, you know, that's just me.
What if we did both?
I agree. I agree with Pro Tem Savage. I think surveys are really hard to read, or hard to get a full picture of what the consensus is. So I think we should.
Would council be opposed to the idea of potentially having a survey out there also, and then also talking to our citizens, having a dual role of that?
As long as the survey doesn't sway, but you can't, I mean, how can you manage that?
Right.
But, yeah, I have no problem with it.
The only problem with the survey is that you're not going to please everybody. And if you ask for their input, then they are not going to feel heard.
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
I
maybe
think
an
that we
internal?
all have enough diverse input that we can go on that.
Absolutely.
I don't think by not doing the survey that we're not considering what our districts would like.
I agree.
I kind of disagree with that. I think open government, you have a survey where people can put their opinion, but I'm just one vote, obviously.
Okay. Well, Nikki, Mr. Ellis, what are
You
your
have an
thoughts?
opinion
What are
about
your
a
thoughts
survey.
on this?
I think survey is fine, but like Gary said, as long as it doesn't sway, because not everybody, it's like, you're always seeing, usually it's political, you're seeing a survey of so many people, and I'm thinking, well, I wasn't surveyed, I have been surveyed.
Who did they talk to?
So, as long as one doesn't sway the other and just try to come to a general consensus. Let me say again, on the dumpsters, you know, there's been 2 or 3 of our meetings at least where the downtown trash cans are in the way. Well, before we get First Street looking good, we need to do something with that. And then the fuel farm, if it's making money, for us. It seems
Absolutely.
like that's the way to go. We need something that benefits everybody, not just,
Yep.
the sports complex and all that. You're benefiting young families, which is great for the future of the city.
Yes.
And the bathrooms at Lake Crook, not everybody goes out there to fish and so forth. So whatever can benefit the city
Absolutely.
as close to immediate as we can.
Let me ask this question to council. Obviously, we've had some back and forth on this potential of having maybe a survey or something, whether it be by way of website or by way of social media. What if we were to have an understanding of, hey, let's talk to our district, our constituents in our districts and within the community, hear them out, put out the survey or a jot form per se, if people wanted to chime in, if they really wanted to chime in, they could. And that way, because if we don't know some of these individuals in certain areas and we don't get a chance to talk to them, maybe they are able to at least contact City Hall and say, hey, I watched the meeting and this is what my thoughts are on this, in case if they're not able to contact us. Is that something that council would be open to, trying to find a compromise between both sides here?
I know I've got this look on my face.
Go ahead.
Say it. So I think we were elected to help make decisions for our constituents. I have talked to some people about this situation. I don't know if everybody's had the opportunity to do that. And some people don't live in the city, but they own businesses in the city. And all of them pretty much said it needs to be something that can benefit the whole city, not just one specific area. And as Senior Pastor over here, Mickey, said that I think the field farm and, because everything else is pretty specific in specific areas. So I like the idea of the field farm. But the point I'm making here, I think we should make that decision. Maybe not make it tonight, go out and talk to different people within the city and in our districts. But I think we're capable of making that decision because either way we go on here, we cannot go wrong. We can't go wrong. So I think we're good.
And, honestly, we have great decisions here to make. Not everyone's going to be happy with the
Right.
the total decision that we make, the final decision. But, I believe that we should go ahead, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong on this direction, but let's talk about this again at the next meeting. Give Ms. Moore an opportunity to be able to voice her stance on this also. Gives us an opportunity as council to go out to our districts and our constituents, talk to them, and get that buy-in to see, hey, let's look at this and see what say you. Helps us to formulate a final decision and bring it back in 2 weeks' time.
What that does is also allow staff to go through, I would say, maybe a third of these will probably remove from this list, or could be removed from this list because we found alternate funding.
Yes, that's a good
Like that
idea.
idea.
Alternate funding.
That doesn't mean every one of them will be funded.
Right.
Like if there are 3 different bathroom styles on there, we would just pick one.
Sure.
Or maybe even options,
Yes,
like packages.
right.
So how would the survey be delivered?
I didn't think we were going to be doing a survey,
Okay.
because I think we ultimately came down to, hey, let's just put it out there and let's go out there into our districts and talk about this, unless if anyone else wants to chime in on a different option of that. And if not, it's fine. I think to the point, I think we can get out there and discuss either way. Is everyone in agreement to that?
I think a survey, anyway, I think I'm in my minority, but I think a survey just gives people that, we don't know everyone in our district.
Right.
I don't see, we're still making a decision at a meeting. We're just getting extra feedback from people. I think open government should be about feedback from as many people as we can get, but anyway.
So why don't we do this? Since we're kind of on the fence on this survey issue, let's go ahead and maybe take a vote on the surveying. Is that okay, Madam City Attorney?
I guess so. It's a possible action item.
Just one question. Are we limiting the survey? Is it going to be open-ended? So if other people have other things they would like to fund, they can put that on the list, or?
I would assume we could put other,
You could.
but then keep in mind, there is that option for general fund. So that then goes into general fund as kind of that miscellaneous, right? If someone says, hey, I want more road construction, or I want more houses torn down, that then falls in line as general fund at that point.
I think staff has come up with a great list, and to Ms. Putnam's point, that survey is going to open the door for a lot of other things to come in, more discussion, when, we can't do everything. General fund does, day-to-day operations does a lot of the things that people are going to put on there that they need. I think we should stick with this list and bring it down a little bit, as Rob suggested, and just go with this list. I think a survey is just going to open up everything, and then who's going to compile all the information? It's putting more work on staff. I think it's just adding a lot.
So I have an idea after all this discussion now. Why don't we agree on this as council moving forward? Let's go into our districts, talk to our constituents, have these discussions, get their input, come back at the next meeting, discuss this, let staff have the opportunity to concisely put our final options together. And then, if we just cannot come up with an idea, then we go into more, investigation of where we can put our funds. I'm sure by then we may have a better idea, but does that sound like a plan for everyone?
I'd like to have a shortened list before we go into the, you do that, yeah.
We can get that to you beforehand.
Okay. Does that sound good for everyone? Is that agreeable?
I make a motion what you said.
Okay.
You don't need to.
I don't think we even have to vote on it, so I think we're good. We're just.
And
just
to
as
be
long as
fair, we have been compiling this list through the year. Ever since we made the vote, I've heard of something, I'm like, tell Mr. Vine, hey, this is a consideration. So things that I've talked about, or maybe you all have, are on the list, so.
Absolutely.
Well, and to that point, I didn't know about the list until last week. So everybody hasn't had an opportunity to make this list or put things on the list. So that's why it's important to let Ms. Councilmember Moore be here to discuss this as well.
Yes, definitely want to engage Ms. Moore and see what her thoughts are on this. So I think we are in an agreement here to come back at the next council meeting and have a further discussion on this. I thank council for a robust conversation, but this is how we do things. I like it. Moving on to agenda item number 18, discuss and act on a resolution repealing resolution number 557, establishing a traffic commission. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. This dissolution of the Traffic Commission on February 8th, 1954, council approved the adoption of a resolution which created the Traffic Commission. Over the last few years, it's been difficult to find people that are interested in being on the commission, let alone serving and showing up at meetings, so we have had to cancel a few meetings due to a lack of quorum. Staff has not been able to identify any requirements in Texas law which would prohibit the commission from being dissolved, nor is there anything that says we have to have one. Any future traffic issues will continue to be addressed by utilizing staff in the police department, planning and zoning committee, and other appropriate staff throughout the city. So nothing will be neglected. There is no impact on the budget if we dissolve this commission, and of course, at this point, staff is recommending that you pass the resolution to dissolve the Traffic Commission.
Council, any discussion? If not, I'll hear a motion.
I make the motion.
We got a motion and a second from Mr. Ellis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 19, discuss and act on resident requirements for various board and commission members. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes. 2 weeks ago, we talked about opening membership to Lamar County for some of the other boards and commissions. We had actually been working on this since October among staff. Tonight, we're recommending the Library Advisory Board and the Main Street Advisory Board be open for resident members from Lamar County. Library Board we already have citizens coming there that have library cars that live in the county. Main Street Advisory Board, they recommend programs to bring patrons downtown. We've had a number of people that wanted to be on that board, but were not allowed to, so they just volunteered and were not on the board. The other recommendation we are making is the Historic Preservation Commission. And they already have a member they already have a place on their board that's allowed for anyone in Lamar County as long as you have a building downtown, have an interest in building downtown. That's our recommendation tonight, those three boards. To open up membership for Lamar County residents.
Perfect. Council, any discussion on this?
I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, I agree, and I would say just as soon as we can, when we have all of this
Yes,
formed.
we'll be working on that tomorrow, because
Thank
we're
you.
going to, we will start advertising April the 1st. And we always send you all the advertisement and a list of all the vacancies and all the information you could ever hope for.
Perfect,
So we
yes.
start working on that tomorrow.
So we have a lot of people who are really interested,
Yes.
and anyone
good.
that is listening that's interested, please sign up. We could use all the help in the
Yes,
world
we
that we
can.
can get. And then, fantastic, okay. Well, if that's the case, I'd like to hear a motion.
I make a motion that we make the changes to the board commissions as Jane has described.
Got a motion? Got a second from Ms. Norman? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 20, discuss and act on a resolution confirming the city manager's appointment of the new finance director, Bruce Ballard. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, City Manager Rose Beverly is unable to be with us this evening, so I'm here in her stead and happy to present Bruce Ballard, CPA, as our new selection for Finance Director. As you know, our longtime Finance Director, Gene Anderson, is retiring. This has been proven to be the most difficult position to fill. However, we believe we have a very qualified candidate and applicant with Mr. Ballard, who is here with us tonight. He has 28 years' experience with the financial operations of the Tyler Independent School District and 3.5 years as a county auditor with Hunt County. We've interviewed him virtually, we interviewed him in person, and throughout the entire process, he has impressed staff with his experience, his knowledge, his character, and also we think he's going to be a good addition to the team as well. Obviously, Mr. Ballard is here this evening. I think if there are any technical questions you'd like to ask, I would either refer it directly to Mr. Ballard or to Gene Anderson. He was on the selection committee as well. But if appointed, Mr. Ballard plans to start on April 14th. And pursuant to the Paris City Charter, Section 21, it states that the appointment of department heads shall be subject to the approval of the council. So we are here tonight, and I would invite Mr. Ballard to stand and join us at the lectern, and so council can meet you.
I'm open for any questions.
And if
y'all
there's
may have.
anything you would like to say, sir, please, now would be the time as well.
I would like to say that I have been interested in this position for several months. I have watched a lot of your city council meetings online, and I very well respect y'all as city council members. Y'all have the city of Paris at heart in all that you do. I look forward to working with the new city manager, the deputy city manager, mayor and council, and working for a city has been one of my goals in my life. And I belonged to GFOAT as a school business person years ago, and I always wanted to work for a city. I think Paris is the size city that can be fun to work with. Y'all have a lot going here, and I look forward to working here with the city of Tyler. And I'm open if you have any questions you'd like to ask at this time.
Council, any questions or anything you'd like to say to Mr. Ballard?
Well, it's very nice to meet you, and thank you for the interest. Will you be moving to Paris?
Well, that's a very good question. My wife and I have moved from Rowlett to Fate, Texas. This was going on, had a commitment already made when I got offered the job. So phase 2 of the move is I will be moving to Paris and living, I think, in the same neighborhood with a couple other people. Not buying a house, but in rental property, and look forward to the weekends where I don't go back home, and I can rest and get ready for another week of hard work here in the city of Paris.
Anyone else? Mr. Ballard, I will tell you, I know that it was a riveting experience for you to apply for this, and there was a huge line of applicants. So I'm glad that you made it here, and we're blessed that you had interest in this position, to fill this position with some big shoes to fill. So thank you, and I think that you will do a fine job if given the opportunity to serve. So thank you for that, and we appreciate your interest in serving our community. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to open it up for any further discussion. If not, we'll hear a motion.
I'll make the motion that we appoint Bruce Ballard as the new finance director.
We've got a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations and thank you, sir.
Well, I want to thank y'all too, and I'm going to do my best to do a great job for the city of Paris.
Welcome to Paris.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Agenda item number 21, discuss and act on an amendment of a lease agreement for property located at the airport between the City of Paris and Carrie Etherly and Ryan Etherly, decreasing the acreage lease by 85.85 acres, issuing a refund in the amount of $1,287.75, with a new annual payment due on May 15th, 2025, in the amount of $9,195.75. Staff, do you have a presentation?
We do. We have prematurely put this item on the agenda, and we would ask that we table this, and we will bring it back
Okay.
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks' time, we will bring this back if tabled. Anyone want to entertain that?
So moved.
Okay, we've got a motion. We got a second from Mr. Ellis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 22, discuss and act on a policy and guidelines for filming in Paris, Texas. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, as you recall, March 10th council meeting, and I apologize if I say your name incorrectly, Mkhitaryan, presented the draft to council of the policy that's in their policy and guidelines for filming in Paris. Staff and legal have gone through this policy, and we are recommending that this be adopted as presented.
Council, is there any discussion? If not, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion from Mr. Ellis,
Second.
second from Ms. Norman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to agenda item number 23, convene into executive session pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney to receive legal advice from the City of Paris about 1, pending or contemplated litigation, and/or 2, on matters in which the duty of an attorney to her client under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with this chapter, to wit, City of Paris versus Essent PRMC, and other potential litigation. For the record, regarding this item, I would like to recuse myself and Ms. Normant due to a conflict of interest. Can we we need a vote on that, correct?
Yes, that will be fine.
Okay.
And then, And you vote to recuse you from this item, but to let you back into the executive session when we're moving on to the other issue.
Yes, well, I'll go ahead and open the floor to a motion to recuse us and then bring us back in once the item has been.
So moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. It is now 6:30. We'll go into executive. Okay, the time is 6:57, and we will convene into open session. Agenda item number 24, reconvene in open session and possibly take action on those matters discussed in executive session. There was no action to be taken. Agenda item number 25, consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081, an announcement of city and/or Lamar County Chamber sponsored events in Paris. Does anyone have anything?
Yeah, just, and this is not to be answered here, but what are the plans for our old trash trucks? And, do we know the value? Are they in demand, or is there a need to keep them here?
We can bring you that information.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
The other question I have for the future, for a future council meeting, doesn't have to be in the next 2 weeks or a month, but just sometime soon in the next couple of council meetings, if we can start looking at laying out the groundwork for residential rental inspections, and then maybe have a presentation of what that would look like in the future.
Okay.
I know that's a big topic, but it's time. Anything else? Okay. This Wednesday, the 26th, from 9 to 11, the Paris Police Department will host Coffee with a Cop at Elite Home Health, located at 50 North Main Street. Everyone is welcome to enjoy some coffee and visit with the local PD, fire department, and EMS crews. Tickets are on sale now for the annual Paris Wine Fest, hosted by the Paris Main Street. Great organization. Please come out to that. The Wine Fest is set for 6 to 9 p.m. on Saturday, April 12th. Limited tickets are available for the Wine Fest or the VIP experience before Wine Fest starts. The VIP experience will be in the historic Gibraltar Hotel and includes delicious chef-prepared food and wine selections for tasting. VIP tickets include access to Wine Fest activities. Tickets are available online at pariswinefest.com. Visit paristexas.com for the full list of many things happening in Paris. With that being said, I will now move on to agenda item number 26, and that is adjournment.
So moved.
We've got a motion and a second from Mr. Kessel. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
All right, motion passes.